thank you. Who was next? Mama G, I just want to take a moment. I think, listening to you, right? I feel whatever channel is open in you, it's open, it's clean, it's clear. And when you stand in the presence of that, when we witness that, you know where we're going if we work hard, if we keep cleaning our channels, if we keep cleaning the path so that the mother can come into us. So I honor you and I thank you for everything you said, and for your being, and for your presence, and for your feistiness, and for your rage, and for everything. And I want to say to Afia that I got to meet Afia in California, and we got to rise together, and we did an amazing event this year at Pioneers where we did wailing, and we did on the ground screaming, and loving, and mourning, and healing. And you were really brave to come and walk into the space, to bring your energy, to bring your dream, to bring your spirit here. And it's so beautiful to see everybody coming together in such a gorgeous way to support each other and to be able to bring back to Jamaica what your heart is telling you to bring back to Jamaica. And I just want to honor that from the bottom of my heart, and thank you for inviting Monique and I here. You're so beautiful and your spirit is so true. And Cherry, you're awesome. I think self-defense is critical. We teach it at City of Joy, which is a revolutionary center in the Congo for women who have survived terrible, terrible atrocities. And my favorite thing is sitting in those classes and watching women who have been victimized becoming fierce warriors. So thank you, thank you. And what I want to say about Tattoo, I was watching your daughter also, and when you went up, she literally did the happy dance. She did the
Tattoo's right here. Tattoo's right here.
She did the happy dance.
Okay.
And I didn't do that when my mother went up and spoke.
Right.
I didn't do a happy dance. I didn't have that experience, And I just want to honor you not only for your amazing poetry, but for being a mother where your daughter just dances with joy when you speak. That's the greatest thing you could bring to this world. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I just want to say about that, when your daughter was doing that, I was thinking to myself how much I longed for that experience with my own mother. I wanted to love my mother. I adored my mother, but I wasn't adored by my mother. I wasn't loved by my mother, I wasn't loved by my mother because her wounds were too deep and my father was too violent. And he occupied the space, and he terrorized my mother, and he shut my mother down, and he made my mother go away. So for so many years in my life, right, I grew up in a violent, violent, violent family. And I tell you this because I think in so many ways we are all the consequence of so many violences. Whether it's the violences of slavery, which has just fractured communities, souls, hearts, spirits everywhere in this world. Whether it's the violence of sexism, whether it's the violence of violence. I mean, I have traveled this planet. I have been to many, many, many places. Every country I go to, I can close my eyes and I hear the same story. I hear the same story. 1 out of 3, 1 out of 2 women have been beaten, have been raped, have been violated, have been desecrated. And then I think to myself, why? Why? Why have we been desecrated? So here's what I feel. My mother was a damaged mother. She couldn't love me. I then became a damaged person who was seeking a mother. And everywhere I looked in my life, I was seeking my mother. I went to all the wrong places, right? I went to guys who couldn't love me. I went to friends who couldn't love me. I went to places who couldn't love me. When my father started to sexually molest me, I went to my mother, and my mother didn't protect me, right? My mother said to me basically, you're not important to me. You're not important as he is. I won't protect you. I won't stop my life. So it sent me a signal, right? That I wasn't significant, that I wasn't worthy, that my mother wouldn't protect me, right? When my father began to beat me, my mother was so afraid of my father that she kind of joined into telling him things about me, sending me in to be beaten. She colluded with my father. So that was the next stage of not only did she not love me, she was now actively hurting me, right? By the time I left my family, I was a destroyed person. I had no self-esteem. I hated myself. I didn't want to live. And I wanted to die, but I didn't have the courage to kill myself. So I did it in all kinds of ways. I became an alcoholic. I was insanely promiscuous. I was begging someone just to take me out of my misery. I didn't listen to my intuition. I went to all the wrong places. Wherever my intuition told me not to go, I went. Because I wanted to be in danger. I wanted not to be here. And in my life, I feel so blessed that I had interventions that happened, that came into me, where do we want to stop for a second? Are we okay?
No, we're okay.
Okay. I was so blessed in my life at a certain point when I finally hit rock bottom with alcohol and I couldn't go on any longer and I was drinking myself to death, that there were people who came and they intervened in my life. And I have to say it was at that point, I feel like I feel weird going off and you're okay? Okay, I just want to check in. Okay, I just wanted to check in.
Thank you for checking.
So when I was around 23 years old, I was on the verge of killing myself. I had come as close to it as I could. And I bottomed out. And through forces, people came into my life. And they helped me begin to find my way and begin to heal. And what I began to realize as I began to heal was the depth of my self-hatred was so vast. It was so fast. I had major anxiety attacks all the time when I stopped drinking. I couldn't function. I was always going to the hospital because I didn't know how to keep myself alive. But gradually I began to get better. And then what happened is, several years later, I wrote out of really listening to women because I've always loved women and I've always believed in women and I've always thought women are our strength. When I listened to women, I began to see that I wasn't alone. I began to understand that every woman on this world, every woman, it doesn't matter if you've been raped yourself, it doesn't matter if you've been beaten yourself, if you've witnessed your sister be beaten, if you've witnessed your mother be beaten, if you've seen it around you, you know it can happen to you, and that is controlling you in some sexual way, right? And what I want to say about patriarchy is, I don't know how it began. I don't know how it began that we women were willing to give up our power. I don't know what we decided or how it got taken away from us. But if we are going to survive as a species, women have to get their power back. And not power over, not the power to dominate, but if we don't equalize the energy, the male energy that's in the world right now, we will perish. Right now in America, a total patriarch, a man who is an openly self-confessed sexual assaulter, a man who's been accused of rape, a man who has been accused of sexually harassing, a man who is a predator has come to be president. That is not accidental. Our karma has come back on America. Our karma has come back. You can't steal the lands and destroy and commit genocide against the indigenous. You can't enslave African Americans and make them be mass incarcerated and hold them and shoot them and not think your karma will not come back on you. So we now have manifest. We have manifest the story. And what we're up against right now is, will we, as a human species, particularly in America, rise up to transform that story? It is our reckoning. But I want to say to all of the women here, why do men rape us? Why do men beat us? Because we carry an energy in our beings. We carry the energy of our true mother in our beings. I know today that mother loves me. I know today that mother holds me. I know today that mother is with me in everything I do. And that mother has always been here waiting for me to come to that mother. And as I have come to her, what I have discovered is we have the power in our vaginas, we have the power in our hearts, we have the power in our brains, we have the power in our spirits to literally transform us into the new paradigm. And it is when women are in the lead and when women are colored in the center of the lead that we will get where we're going. I believe that and I know that as deep as I know anything. So I just want to say to the women in this audience and the women who are here today, going through the memory of your violence, of my violence, having to pass through and remember what my father did to me, what I went through, what I denied, was a very, very hard process. I could not do it alone. None of us can do it alone. We need our sisters with us. We need groups with us. We need to hold hands with our sisters. We need to weep with our sisters. We need to wail with our sisters. We need to scream with our sisters. We need to laugh. And we definitely need to dance with our sisters. Because dancing is the spirit. It's how we connect to the mother. It's the direct route to the mother. And I want to say, I think one of the great things, and I'm just going to share this about 1 Billion Rising, and then I'll stop. You know, about 7 years ago, I've been traveling the world really for 15 years, going to war zones, rape camps, all kinds of places across this planet where women were sharing their stories one after the other with me. And I would sit and I would take these stories in, and I would listen to these stories, and I would hold these stories, and after every trip I would go home and I would get in bed and I would cry for 3 days. But I didn't know how to handle those stories. I didn't know how to keep them on my body. And 7 years ago, they discovered I had a tumor in my uterus, the size of an avocado, and that my cancer had spread to my colon. And the next thing I knew, I was rushed to the hospital, and in 9 hours of surgery, they removed 7 organs and 70 nodes. And all my life, the only thing I wanted, if you had said, what do you want to be when you grow up? I would have said, I want to live in my body. I want to live in this body. But everything in my life had taken me out of my body. When I got raped, it took me out of my body. When I got beaten, it took me. I was not living in here, in this body. When I came out of my operation, I was all bags and catheter tubes. My colon was, inverted and coming out of my body. But for the first time in my life, I was in my body. I was a body. I was a body. I was lying there. I was a body. And at that point, my next life began. And as the cancer, and as I went through all the stages of the cancer, I began to come into my bones and into my blood, and I began to discover what was really in here, the power in our bodies, which patriarchy has been pushing us out of and trying to remove us from, because when we are in our sexuality, and I'm not talking about sex, I'm talking about our energetic life force power. We are powerful. We are powerful. You can't beat that power. That is the power of love. That is the power of life. That is the power of transformation. And so through the process of cancer, I returned to, and I connected with trees, and I connected with nature. And I've always lived in the city, and I moved like 2 years ago to the country. So I live in the woods now because I had to be with the mother. I had to be embraced by the mother. But I will tell you this. When I was in Congo after I came out of my surgery, and I was very skinny, and I was bald, and I looked like a skinny-ass white woman. And I went back to Congo, and all my sisters in the Congo looked at me, and they didn't know what to say. They were horrified because I looked so sick. We were standing around, and I don't know, the women of Congo are the most beautiful, beautiful women. I can't even tell you how much I love the women of Congo. We've worked there for 10 years. We built a beautiful place called the City of Joy, where all these women are healing and becoming revolutionary leaders. And when I went back there, the women just said, oh my God, and what did they do? They started to dance. And when women dance in the Congo, there's nothing like it. Like, the earth comes up, the earth rises. And they started to drum, and they started to dance, and they started to drum, and I was like, these are women who have been raped and re-raped and re-raped. They're women who have suffered the worst atrocities on this planet. But when they dance, they move into that higher energy, that higher consciousness. And I thought to myself, if the women of Congo can dance like this, what if every woman in the world and every man who loved her rose and danced on one day, and we could call up the energy of the mother. We could call up the energy of love. We could call up the energy of revolution. And we just put out the call. And I'm telling you, it was like that. Women know. Women know when it's right. Women know when it's true. Women know in your body when you're calling up your body. And that first year, 200 countries rose and danced. And it's been going on, and it's been going on. So I feel now more than ever, our earth is suffering. Our earth, we are hurting her. We are extracting and drilling and killing off butterflies and killing off bees. She gives us everything. She gives us everything every day to live here. We have to fight for her. We have to fight for her. We have to live for her. Every woman on this planet has the potential to transform not only her household, but her community and this world. So we have to go into our bodies and come back into our bodies and call out that power and call out that love without apology, without shame. We have to be bold now. We have to know that the earth and all life on this planet is at stake. And nobody is going to put this vagina back in the bottle. So, I urge you all, I want to say the only thing I believe that keeps women from rising is the way we treat each other. And I want to say this, it isn't a country I go to, there isn't a place I go to. We have internalized patriarchy. We pick apart women, we put down women, we say she's prettier, I like what she's wearing, I don't like, oh, you hear what she said? I'm going to give you an exercise. If you're jealous of a woman, give her a present. Do the opposite of what you feel. If a woman, you feel like somebody has what you don't have, there's 10 principles at City of Joy. Give what you want the most is one of them. Treat your sister's life as if it was your own is the other one. We have got to get over this internalized patriarchy, and we've got to love each other. And even if that means you work against every instinct in you which tells you to put down this one, be jealous of this one, talk about this one, oh, where's she come from, how's she getting it? That's all over now. We got to move past that now. We got to join our arms, our hearts, our vaginas together, and we got to rise. And I want to say I feel more privileged and more honored that you have let me into your lives, to your stories, to your love, and your community, and I love you honestly with all my heart. Thank you very much.